Recently, I came across this very interesting marketing survey report. Basically, they asked a ton of business owners how they're approaching their marketing, what's working for them, and what's not. And I wanted to do a quick screen share video just to go over this report with you because I think it highlights a lot of interesting trends that I have been talking about on this channel. I think this video is going to give you a very solid understanding of where the current marketing landscape is and what, as a business owner, you should be doing. Because, quite frankly, I can tell you, based on the survey, there's a lot of people who are still operating like it's 2014 or something, and they're going to get left behind. So let's jump into the screen share and we'll break it down together. So as you can see here, this is the marketing report we're going to be going over. It's by a company called Local IQ. I'm just going to be highlighting the things that I think are super relevant, giving my commentary accordingly. I believe it was a survey of over 300 businesses in North America. So this is both the United States and Canada. And then you can see that it's a bit more dominated towards business services. So I'm assuming that's professional services, but that's the main category of clients I work with, but you can see that it's pretty well represented as you look at the other categories there. So I think this is going to give us a pretty solid holistic view of where things stand. Now, I think it's important though, because when you think of small business, you think of a small 5-person company maybe, but technically, at least here in the US, the small business definition is any company that's under 500 employees, which I think if you've got a 500-person company, there's nothing small about that at all. So again, a very solid, broad sample size. And then you can see here on the right-hand side what these companies report as their monthly budget. This is the first thing I got to talk about here because this is one of the only true marketing heuristics, you could say, that is still relevant from the 1960s Mad Men era of advertising. And that is going to be that essentially the marketing budget should be 10% of your target revenue. So for example, if you're looking to make $500,000 in revenue, that means your marketing budget should be about $50,000. You can see companies are simply not investing enough in marketing. So that's the first thing I need to call out here. We'll talk about more of that as this goes on. I don't want to get hung up on here. You can see these are the main channels businesses are currently using. So 2/3 are using social media marketing. That's going to be all the big platforms you can think of. Social media ads, about half are investing in that. I'm surprised to see that, but that's good. Honestly, though, I think that should be well north of 80%. Email marketing also is above 50%. That's good. SEO, you can see companies are actually increasing their SEO investment from 39% in 2024 to 2025. Honestly, I think it should probably be reversed because SEO is clearly the definition of a declining asset. I was also surprised to see the most used social media channels, Facebook at 91%. This is what I'm talking about. This is like 2014 stuff right here. Honestly, I would say that this should be inverted in the sense that I think YouTube should be the number one just because of all the content splintering efforts. Obviously, this is going to be very dependent on your business type though, but broadly speaking, I believe YouTube should be number one. Instagram should probably be number two. TikTok right up there with it, depends on your business, and or LinkedIn. So if you're B2B, I primarily focus on LinkedIn. If you're B2C, I would focus on Instagram or TikTok. And then Facebook would be the one all the way at the bottom of that list. At the end of the day, the organic reach on Facebook is just not at all what it used to be. You can get way better organic reach on both Instagram and LinkedIn if you're looking at comparative platforms. What are your best sources of getting new leads and customers? So this does not surprise me, although again, it's concerning. The number one source of leads you could see over 80% is going to be referrals. Now, referrals are great when you get them because essentially the prospect comes to you pre-sold, which is fantastic. But the reason why I say referrals are problematic is because there's no way you can create that into a predictable lead revenue stream for you. And honestly, I would say that while you should be doing your best to incentivize referrals, and that's something I'm working on in my own business, ultimately, at the end of the day, I would always just view referrals as icing on the cake, but you got to actually make the cake yourself. And that's what I would say is what you really need to be focusing on in terms of building up at least 2 or other 3 channels that are consistently bringing in leads for your business. And then any leads you get from referrals are just icing on the cake. But honestly, I feel like relying on referrals is like relying on luck. And I really just don't think your business can afford to do that, especially when the economic times, as we're already in, and I would say increasingly likely, are going to be extremely tough and uncertain. This is going to be a tough business environment for the next several years. Quite honestly, I would sign up for tough economic times ahead. I think there's a not so insignificant likelihood due to technology and geopolitics where the economic situation could take a dramatic turn for the worse, basically. So that's all I would say there. Otherwise, all the rest of this stuff looks pretty standard. This, I don't think, is any surprise that sales or revenue would be one of the top, obviously, metrics people are tracking for their business. Now we're getting a bit more into planning for the upcoming year, 2026. You can see that 66% of businesses believe that economic conditions are going to be their biggest challenge going forward. And then that is also going to be with getting new leads and customers, making the most out of your budget, knowing which marketing channels to invest in, keeping up with all the marketing changes. So nothing too crazy there. This is one thing I wanted to call attention though to. So you can see, do you expect your marketing budget to increase or decrease in 2026? So basically 54% are saying it's going to stay the same, and then 8% are going to say it's going to be decreasing. But I would argue that those numbers should be lumped in because when you think about inflation, which has been higher in recent years, if your marketing budget is staying the same, it's essentially going down in terms of real dollars, right? This is one of the concerning things I see in this report because honestly, as counterintuitive as it might seem, if you think we're headed towards negative economic conditions, like a recession, for example, then I would say that you should actually be increasing marketing investment. And I've done a video on this in the past, which I will link. But honestly, when economic times get tough, the first thing companies cut other than staff is going to be marketing. That's only going to lead to lower ad costs because there's going to be more ad supply. And also, I would just say that there's several business case studies from Harvard Business, for example, that looks at companies that actually increase marketing investment during times of economic downturns or recessions actually come out ahead. Are you planning to invest more or less in these channels in 2026? So you can see more than half are looking to invest more in video marketing. Honestly, that's just the way the industry is going in today's marketing landscape. If you're not producing video content like this, then honestly, I don't know what you're doing, and you're going to be at a distinct disadvantage of all your competitors who are. You can see 47% are looking to increase more in search advertising. I'm all for Google Ads, and I run them for my clients as well, but I think that is also declining in relevance along with SEO, and that's not going to change until the AI chatbots like Claude or ChatGPT open up their LLMs essentially to allow for advertising, which I don't think the users are going to want, but that just seems like such an obvious revenue stream. Because I would say either ChatGPT and other LLMs, either the AI promise is going to come real where they're going to replace us essentially, and then we're going to need some sort of universal basic income. I'm thinking about that a lot myself these days, but I don't have any clear, concrete thoughts to share. But either that's going to happen, or this thing is going to be a bubble, which I think is also plausible, and in which case you're going to make a new version of Google that's like 20% better, and you're going to stuff it with ads the same way they've done with Google. But I think those are the other two directions that we're going towards, but neither of those directions seems super great to me. I've got many AI video topics coming up though, so definitely subscribe to the channel if you want to hear my thoughts on that, because there's a lot to be said in that category. But you can see here which channels or tactics are you planning to invest in that you're not currently. Nothing too relevant here, I would say. Time and tech, how much time do you spend on your marketing per week? This is all going to be highly relevant depending on what your staff looks like. What tools and software do you help with marketing your business? Surprised AI is not there, but this is where we get into AI. How are you using AI content creation? Look, AI is great for content creation, but I think it's great in terms of like brainstorming, helping you consider different angles of your content. But don't go on the AI slop train, whether you go balls to the wall and start trying to make videos with Sora. I think it's still a bit obvious that it's Sora, although it is getting very tough to tell the difference. But just don't embrace the AI slop trend, because I've heard some people online talk about how now content is a quantity game over quality, and you should use AI to spit out as much content as you can. Don't do that. I think you're going to destroy your online reputation. And people, at the end of the day, they're not stupid. They know if you just copy and pasted ChatGPT. They know if it's a Sora video. So I would not embrace the AI slop trend. Design, though, I think that's a valuable use case. I'm using Midjourney right now, which can be great. And I know that's being integrated in a bunch of AI tools like Canva or Photoshop. Social media management, marketing automation, reporting. Yeah, I think that's all like helpful stuff here. Lead management, sure. 84% looking to save time. I think that goes to the fact that people are just using this as AI slop. Only 1/3 of small businesses again, are actively working with either an agency or solopreneur type professional consultant like myself, yeah, honestly, I would always be looking to outsource marketing if I were a company. I think you get way better talent if you're looking to hire an agency or perhaps a consultant strategist like myself. And then also, you don't need to worry about insurance, benefits, time off, sick leave, things of that nature. So I think it's honestly a no-brainer, and you could probably spend less money and get better results by hiring either an agency or a professional like me. Like I said, we'll summarize the key takeaways now. Most small businesses still aren't investing in paid search. If you're a professional services company, I will say I do think that investing in Google Ads is probably your best bet, especially if you're not running any ad campaigns right now, just because that's going to allow you to target the bottom of the funnel, and that is where you're going to see a higher ROI. But if you're a e-commerce type company, or maybe there's a longer sales cycle, you might want to look into meta ads first. Low-cost strategies have grown in importance. Yeah, I agree. And that's why I think it's so critical to be creating YouTube content, because quite honestly, it takes less than a couple $100s to get started. All you really need is a mic, and then you can use your phone, and then you're in business. So highly recommend jumping on the video content platform. Facebook continues to be the most popular social platform. Honestly, I don't know what's going on there. I think a lot of this, and this key to note here, is that this surveyed business owners, not necessarily marketing directors or managers. So I think most business owners are like 5 to 10 years behind on their marketing. And so that's why they see tough economic times ahead. They think we need to do more marketing, and they think it's Facebook. But yeah, that would have worked 10 years ago, but I'm telling you, it's way better to be on the platforms of Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, and you don't need to choose. You can just create all the content and then batch schedule it out across all these different platforms. There's no reason why you need to be on the bandwagon of one of these platforms or not of the others. Small businesses have small budgets. Yeah, I don't think that's super surprising. Like I said, I think you need to be investing more in marketing. If you want to make $1 million, for example, in revenue, you probably got to spend $100,000 in marketing. They're also less likely to have dedicated marketing support. Say you are looking to make $1 million, if you have $100,000 to spend. At that point, you're probably looking at hiring either an agency or a professional like myself. And with more of that money, I would also be looking to spend a lot more into paid ads, also perhaps some evergreen video content resources, so professionally shot video of you, your staff, your company story, things like that. Professional photography. If you've got the money, now's the time to invest it, especially if we are looking at economic uncertainty ahead. And to flesh out my thoughts on that, like there's that book Ray Dalio wrote, The Changing World Empire. I think whatever way you slice it, we're clearly in one of these massive transitions, and there's going to be a lot of upheaval. So no one knows exactly how it's going to play out, but this story has played out throughout history, and the trends are the same. It's just the characters and the set pieces that are a bit different this time around. Most small businesses are using AI. Yeah, if you're not using AI, you are going to be behind. But again, use it in a smart way, which I'm going to be putting out videos on all about how to do that soon. The economy continues to be a concern. Yeah, I think we're all concerned about the economy, but they're not planning to cut budgets yet. Yeah, I don't think businesses necessarily will cut budgets until there's an economic outside force that forces their hand. But at the same time, like I pointed out, it looks like really 2/3 of businesses are de facto having their ad budgets lowered by the fact that if you don't increase it, then due to inflation, it's only going to go down. And then customer referrals remains the greatest source for new leads, but getting new leads is still challenging. Yeah, I haven't talked to a single business owner or marketing director that thinks generating leads is easy right now. Everyone seems to be hurting in that department. But again, if you're singularly reliant on referrals, that is a ticking time bomb. It's like having luck be your strategy, but we got to make our own luck here in this game. So that's going to be investing in paid ads. That's going to be creating content. That's going to be ensuring that your brand is dialed in, that your website is dialed in, and that you have a game plan for actually growing your brand awareness online, getting them onto your website, generating leads from there, and of course, using that to grow sales and revenue. So again, referrals are just an icing on the cake here. It cannot be the whole strategy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so that is the video. I hope you got a lot of value going over that marketing report, and I hope that it's going to give you a lot of good insights and ideas as we head into the new year and you're beginning to think about planning out your new marketing strategy. Now, if you are looking to work with a professional such as myself, an independent strategist, and whether you need help with your brand, your website, or maybe you have those two items locked in, but you don't have any idea on how to grow your brand awareness online and generate leads from a marketing standpoint. If that's you, check out the link in the description. There's an interactive 5-minute video form. It gives me all the key details on what you may need help with. And if you're qualified, you'll be able to book a time directly on my calendar and we can chat over Zoom. Otherwise, if you have any questions, drop a comment and I'll get back to you when I can. Otherwise, subscribe to the channel because I'm putting out 3 videos a week and there's going to be lots of value coming out soon. So without further ado, I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.